Welcome to another Loc Lesson Live. Things look a little bit different. We're gonna see if the internet can keep up with what we got going on today. But either way, I am so grateful for your presence. If you are new here in the chat, go ahead and check in. Let me know your name and where you're located. If you've been rocking with me for a while, let me get a hashtag crew, CREUEW, in the comment section, and let me know how you are grooming your locks. Just give me a quick recap. Because for the month of June, we've been focusing all about grooming. And so we've talked about palm rolling, we've talked about locksmithing, we talked about interlocking, and tonight we're going to be discussing crochet grooming, which is not something new, but it's becoming increasingly popular in the lock community. So we definitely have to talk about it. All right. And while you do that, make sure I can see everyone. Hello. See, Jessica, don't do me like that. I did not mean, I was like, I'm gonna spell it right. In my mind, I was like, I'm gonna spell it right, but my lips was not catching up with my mind. All right. So some grace would be appreciated. I will also say, if you are new here, go ahead and grab some water. I'm sure the crew already has their water. They already know what it is. But if you're new here, go grab you a glass of water, at least 8 ounces, because as we are cultivating healthy, holistic hair care spaces, we know that water is essential to our growth. So get you some water. Got my water right here. All right, so I'm going to be drinking along with you. We play like a little drinking game. I'll give you the word that we're going to be drinking to tonight very shortly, but get you some water. All right. And let's check in. I see Patrick is here. Peace King, thank you for joining. Empress is in the building in Atlanta. Kimberly, what's up, Mom? And you do interlocking. Frida's here. Michelle, thank you for joining. Carolyn's on interlocking. And Miss Deal is in Michigan. Thanks for joining. I haven't had my locks touched since December 2021. Man, what? I wish I'm really holding out. I'm trying to get some good new growth up in here because I'm gonna record the locksmithing training to update the how to retwist locks at home. For those of you that are retwisting your locks at home, you know I have the training on palm rolling and retwisting and clip organization and all that good stuff in that workshop. But I realized like locksmithing is not in there. And some people want to locksmith their hair at home. And it's really, really a technique that you can use if you have frizzy hair. And so I'm trying to get that good growth, that good frizz there so you can really see the beauty of the locksmithing. So never mind my roots right now. It's a method to the madness, okay? Celeste is doing palm rolling. Elizabeth says, I'm on the month 13. And past 3 or so months, I stopped any retwisting at all, but dry brush when necessary, wrap and refresh. So when you say wrap, I'm assuming you mean finger wrap. Finger wrapping is a type of grooming now. So you're not just out here just free form and letting it do whatever. I'm assuming. Peace, Wayne. Thank you for joining. Miss Diane is here. Amber says, I need a loctician in Atlanta. I want them combined. Text me. So if you're not in the digital text club, I highly encourage you to join me over there. That's just like our private space where you can reach out to me personally or just connect outside of social media, because there's some things that I just cannot just broadcast out to anybody, right? Like it can't happen. So if you want to talk about things like offline, join me in the digital text club. And if you have questions like finding a loctician. I do have a loctician academy where I train holistic locticians. So maybe I've trained somebody in your area. Reach out to me. I can connect you. And I put the link. It's down here. I'm standing up today, so we're gonna see how this goes. We'll see. Just because says you're giving hang time. Yes, darling, yes. Thank you. I was hanging out at the park with my son today, so my hair got a little wet. I just put in a little braid, kind of, can you see little waves? So yeah, I was trying to give you guys all the inches today. But honestly, I was in here doing some recording because I'm striving for consistency in Q3. Can y'all believe like half the year is over? Can you believe it? Can you believe tomorrow is July? Like, what? What is, what? I feel like the year 2022 has literally flown by. Things are just like fast, 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 fast. So I'm striving to, like, I had to reassess my goals. And I was like, look, sis, you said you're trying to do this. How? I don't see it. So I had to get in here, record some content. All right. In the comment section, while you're checking in, what's one goal that you set for yourself in 2022? And if you have yet to set a goal, set one here right now. Like, just give it a time. By this time, I want, or I will, I'm going to, like, and fill in the blank. What's the goal? What's one goal that you set for yourself this year? Put it in the chat, because even if it's up here, you got to first write it down. So we can write it down tonight. For real, right? Michelle says it's a time warp. It literally, we're in this high speed situation. Ty says, my goal is to get back in school. I love that. What are you studying? What are you going back for? Tell us more. Florine says, I'm striving to exercise 5 days a week. I love that. You can do that. I would encourage you to change exercise to mindful movement. And how long is that mindful movement, or how long is that exercise going to be? Are you striving for 15 minutes of exercise or mindful movement 5 times a week? Like, make it really smart so it's something attainable. Because a lot of times, we have things in our mind. Like, I talked about this before, my calendar. I have a calendar in my bathroom where I like have highlighters of like all like my self-care practices that I want to have or do in a day. And one of mine was, I want to walk every day. But I'm like, I'm walking. Is this what I mean? And it's like, nah, sis, like, you want to walk a straight mile in a day. If you've walked a mile, then you get to highlight that day. But if you haven't walked a consistent mile, did you really show up? So it's really important that we really, isolate, like focus in on what that goal is. 4th of July is my sister's birthday. Happy birthday, sis. That's like, when the 4th of July is Monday, right? Like, I don't even know. We Juneteenth over here, but just saying. Embrace my white hair. Yes, the silver strands are lovely. Eat healthier. I love that. But what does eat healthier mean? Like, is you trying to have a juice for breakfast? You striving to eliminate candy, eliminate chips? Like, because again, I'm with you on to eat healthier, but I got to be specific, because my kids get a cookie. It's like, I'm generally eating healthier, but I can have this cookie. So I had to, remix what my eat healthier look like. Do the preliminary things I need to do for my knee surgery by December. My mom just had knee surgery. Yes, do all the things. Okay? But also the recovery for the knee surgery is like, it's miraculous the way I've seen like my mom transform, like from having the knee surgery. She had a little setback in the beginning, but it was like leaps and bounds from the pain she was in before. So get your things done to get everything in the row for the knee surgery. And I pray everything goes well. You come out of it 125,000%. All right. What is this? Cheryl says, I turned 63 yesterday. Happy belated birthday. Sending you all the birthday vibes. Your goal is to retire in 2 years. Yes, I love that. I love that. Do it. You can totally do it. And, one of the conversations that I've been wanting to have, like with the community of like-minded people, particularly in the millennial age group, is like, what does retirement mean? Because I feel like retirement back then is not the same as what retirement looks like today. So, yes, you're going to retire in 2 years, but also, make sure you are still active, right? Because I think retirement before, at least in my mind, was like, you just don't do nothing. You just kicking up, sitting in the, what do you call it? The hammocks, drinking juices, and that's it. Jacqueline says your goal is to embrace your gray roots. I started natural hair oils last month. I've been hardworking nonstop. I'm ready to see profits versus results. Okay. Sending you all the positive vibes on the hair oil business. I think that's what that meant. Or yes, you said profit. So I think it's a business. Miss Diane says, I'm getting back on consistent weight loss regimen because I feel off the wagon head first. All right, Miss Diane, I got you. I got you on this one. Get you some waist beads. Listen, does anybody here have waist beads or have had waist beads before? If you have or have had waist beads, press a 1. I'm going to tell you a quick tangent and we're going to get into tonight's topic. I think it's 2 weeks ago. I went to a pop-up market and the woman was selling waist beads and they're tie-on waist beads. And long story short, she said they're tie-on because they're a commitment to yourself. And I was like, yes, I'll make a commitment to myself. So we go in a little tent. She's tying them on me and she says, adjust them for how much slack you want. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna give myself grace. I'm gonna let my belly out, just let it just fall. Give me a little wiggle room with my finger. And we're good. And I'm thinking, I'm just going to be out here cute. They're going to eventually start melting down my waist. Yes. Y'all, I was struggling. Okay. I could not sit down. The waist beads were cutting into my belly. I could it was uncomfortable for me to sit because I was eating the cookies that my kids had, grabbing bags of chips, eating bread. I was like, oh my gosh. The waist beads are keeping me in check. I can't even do the things. I can't even have all the goodness, read junk or hear junk that I wanted. I'm like, I can't have it because I can't even breathe. I can't even function. And I say that I'm joking because I could function, but literally the waist beads it's a whole different level. So if you want to get on weight loss, get you some waist beads because they gonna keep you in check. The tie-on ones specifically, not the elastic ones, because that's what I used to have. Tie-on waist beads, game changer. Okay, because listen, I gotta do all the things to keep these things just loose all the time. Of course, drink more water. Love that. Get you a reminder. Yes, so I'm sure you don't even need 10,000 waist beads. I have 3 strands, and these 3 strands, listen, I felt like I thought I was controlling my sugar habit, but no, these girls, they keep me in check. All right. Yes, Anissa, I wish I remember her name. I didn't even grab a card. So I don't I don't know what the business is. There's nothing like tagged on the waist beads. I just like popped in there. It was at my kids' new school that we were going to. So I don't know where they are, but I'm pretty sure if you're in Maryland, at least in Silver Spring, they have like a little festival on Saturdays and Sundays. I'm pretty sure I've seen somebody there that has tie on waist beads, but tie on waist beads, it's game changer, game changer. Okay. So what I want to do, you could make your own. Keisha says, make your own waist beads. You can definitely make your own, because I was making my own, but it clearly was not using the right kind of string, because my string was graceful and these are giving accountable. So if you're trying to lose weight, you need accountable string, not graceful string. All right, so hopefully everyone has their water. If you got your water, press a 0. Tonight, our word is going to be loose hair. And I say that because we're going to be talking about crocheting. And crocheting is a grooming method that is really, really good for loose hair. Take a sip. All right, everybody got the water. So the goal, 8 ounces of water down by the end of the broadcast. All right. Talking about crochet grooming, let me see. I think I have that on here. We're going to be talking about it from maintaining your roots. Crochet grooming, like I said, it's been a new phenomenon in the Loc community. People are talking about crochet grooming because it can instantly create locks. And you know, that instant word is a loose term. So it doesn't mean you're going to have like locked hair. It just means your hair is tangled. But that has been one of those ways that people have been able to come into locks without having to grow through the locking process. And the next question tends to be, can I maintain my locks with crochet grooming? What does that look like? So if you've been wondering about crochet grooming for yourself, press the 2. Or if you've had questions about the, let's say the health of crochet grooming, press the 2. Michelle, you gotta grab some water. We need some water. You need some water. Unless you've met your water goals for the day. Cucumber and lemon, that sounds so good. I just got some cucumbers, so you reminded me. I'm gonna go ahead and add those. Okay, feel free to post your questions about crochet grooming into the chat. I want to first start with specifically defining crochet grooming, right? Because a lot of times we hear one thing and someone is thinking something totally different. Like, I know a lot of people think crochet grooming is actually interlocking. Press a 3 if you thought crochet grooming was interlocking, like you thought they were the same thing. And now you're like, wait, what? Those not the same? I know a lot of people who have considered, they've come to the salon asking for crochet grooming, but upon further conversations and throughout the consultation, realized they really meant interlocking. So crochet grooming and interlocking are 2 separate things. If you are interested in interlocking, make sure you go back and watch that lesson last week before it goes into the Roots crew. Then it'll be members only, but that's not what we're here for, to talk about tonight. But you can still go back and watch that lesson today if you want to learn more about interlocking. Crochet grooming is using, I got some tools, using a micro crochet hook. I can't make it, I can. Give me a second. About to get fancy here. Doop. Focus. See that? See how small that tip is? Using a crochet hook. And so this is not, there we are. This is not what you would get from a craft store. Okay. There are some locticians that will go to the craft store to grab a crochet hook. And those crochet hooks, while yes, they are crochet hooks, the point that you saw on this crochet hook, it's larger. And so when you talk about or you are concerned about the health of your locks, the health of your hair strands is going to be determined by this little hook size, this little point here. You use one of them big hooks you see at the stores, yes, it will damage your roots. You have that small micro crochet hook, you get the job done that you're trying to do. Because crochet grooming, the point of crochet grooming is to tangle the hair. You're taking all of the loose hair that is there at the roots, maybe even along the shaft of your lock, and you are tangling it. You are doing that tangling process that it would naturally do over time. Instead, you're doing it at that appointment. So crochet grooming is really good, again, for people that have really frizzy hair or hair that tends to be very loose along the hair shaft. Or maybe you've had your locks for years and they're still frizzy because maybe you maintain only the root area. You didn't know that you're supposed to also cultivate the shaft. And so you have a lot of frizz down the shaft of your lock. Crochet grooming with a micro crochet hook can tame that frizz and help bring it into the inside of the locks. I see a few questions, so forgive me for looking down for a moment. Let me just check in with what's here. Michelle says, is crochet grooming healthy? There are some with 3 prongs, right? Yes. We'll talk about the different tools. Yes, Kimberly, I did say loose hair. You caught that, right? Lynn says, I wash my hair using a washcloth going from the roots to the ends. Is this damaging? Short answer is yes. But I'll pin that so we can go back to it a little later. How small should the hook be? Where you can get the tool? I crochet my shaft. That's my hair for sure. Yeah, with the loose hair. So we know that we need a micro crochet hook. Yes. Sizes. So at the store, you're going to find hooks that are like 1 millimeter, 0.75 millimeters. For grooming at your roots, it needs to be smaller than that. Okay. Don't go into the root area of your hair with anything that is 1 millimeter or 0.75. This hook that I have right here is 0.5. So 0.5 millimeters. All right. It's very pointy. Also, I'd say sharp. Okay. This right here, this is not a crochet hook. You guys, this is a latch hook, not a crochet hook. If you have someone that's like, oh yeah, I do crochet, and you go and you see this, it's a latch hook. It's not a crochet hook. This is also unacceptable for interlocking. Unacceptable for interlocking. Absolutely hell to the gnaw. No, 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 no. Okay? No. We're talking about crochet grooming. Okay? So crochet grooming is done ideally on hair that is clean, but also dry. I don't mean brittle dry, but it doesn't want to be, you don't want it to be sopping wet. Doesn't need to be bone dry, but you don't want the hair to be like freshly just out the shampoo bowl and then you're doing the crochet grooming. So do it on dry hair will lend you the best results. Once you finish with a crochet grooming, you should be able to go wash your hair and the roots stay intact. Whereas with interlocking, like we talked about, you have slippage and the locks can unravel just like in palm rolling. With crochet grooming, you should not have that. It should not come out of the shaft. If it does, it's coming out as like long strands of hair or more frizz. If you're experiencing that, It's generally because you have a looser curl pattern in your hair, and there's other things that would need to be done to remedy that. But generally, when you have curly hair, coily hair, you use your crochet grooming and it's done properly, it will stay in place. And this is also really good for people that have postpartum. Anybody here recently have a baby or have gone through postpartum and you remember growing your hair back and having loose hair all over the place and like strands, just like, where did this long strand even come from? The crochet grooming is a way that you can kind of get those loose hairs back in your locks, reintegrate them without having to jump to like an interlocking. Because like we learned, switching between palm rolling and interlocking, you will see where that interlocking happened. If you're palm rolling and you just go in with a crochet grooming, you should not see the difference. Your lock should be continuous. It should be consistent. All right. How often, I think I saw that, how often to get the hair done with using a crochet method? Great question. I'm going to pin that, put that on the screen. So first I want to say class. All right. Class, you listening? How often, it's a pop quiz. How often should palm rolling be done? Anybody? Put that into the chat. How often should palm rolling be done? Put that in the chat. Zinni, we're not there yet. Nobody in here, I'm sure, is doing retwisting every 6 months. You have to have hair that does not grow away from your roots. Ideally, in the ideal situation, how often is palm rolling done? So we have every 6 to 8 weeks. Kim says after shampoo. Camille says every 2 months. Michelle says every 3 to 6 weeks. Dominique says 4 weeks. Miss Diane says 6 weeks. Okay, so I will give it to Michelle. 3 to 6 weeks, ideally. 4 weeks is like, that's the sweet spot, but 3 to 6 weeks is the range I was looking for. Now let's take it to interlocking. How often should your interlocking be done? Put it in. Let's start it with the I and then say the number so we know you're talking about interlocking. Yeah, Cherie, you're using your locksmithing. Yes, every month for the palm rolling. I retwist every 4 to 6 weeks. Yes, it's definitely within the range. Geechee, thank you, class. All right, so we have retwisting every 3 to 6 weeks. Sweet spot is 4. Interlocking 6 to 8 weeks. With crochet grooming, we're about the same lines as interlocking. 8 weeks, 2 months is 2 to 3 months, ideally, is when you're doing your crochet grooming. It's not something you want to do every single month, all the time, because you are taking a tool to tangle the hair. Doing it too frequently and not having enough hair can be problematic. And so you want to give your hair space and time to grow so that you can properly do the crochet grooming technique. So if you are somebody that is like, I would like that method. I don't want to palm roll every month. I don't like the compactness, the tightness of interlocking. I just want the fullness of my locks, like how they look when they've grown out after a couple weeks. I want to minimize the frizz, and I only want to do it like every so often. This is your friend. Crochet grooming will get you to that space. And so I've had experience with a lot of people, particularly those that are interested in thick locks, leaning more or preferring the crochet grooming technique because they have more of that fullness at the roots. Anybody here have thick locks? Like you have like, I'd say 50 locks or less. Press a 4. Those of you that have thicker locks, or maybe you're considering thicker locks, when we retwist, it's like, oh man, it's so skinny here. What's happening? It's normal, right? Because the hair at the root has not swelled and expanded and locked. But it's like, dang, now I gotta wait for it to get big again. No. But when you do the crochet grooming, you have that like nice fullness, little puff right at the root immediately. And so crochet grooming is one that is really good for that. Giving you that fullness, but also controlling the loose hairs that you see. I'm interlocking every 5 months right now because of some issues. I remember you talking about that. I'm afraid to do any other technique besides palm rolling. And I get that totally. Want to make sure you're doing it right. So, of course, with my online academy, we have training and workshops that take you step by step through how to do all the techniques. You definitely don't want to do anything that you're not thoroughly like sure about, because you can cause damage. So going back to, is crochet grooming healthy? You want to make sure, again, the tool size is right and how you're entering or how you're puncturing your lock is appropriate. Because if you puncture your lock inappropriately, you can weaken your lock. And nobody wants to have weak locks, because when you get weakness, you get thinning. Where thinning comes breakage. Like it's a vicious cycle. All right. So you want to make sure that you're doing it properly. Yes, Cherie, I'm happy to hear that. I just went back on my my goals. I was like, oh, I'm supposed to be having an appointment scheduled here soon. I gotta find me a little loctician that I trust. We'll see. But yeah, so crochet grooming is it's a great technique. You don't need any products. Again, the hair needs to be clean. You want to make sure that it's moisturized, and that's it. Like you don't need any type of locking gel. You don't need any type of edge control, again, because you are allowing the roots to be more full. So you don't need any products. So again, if your goals for your locks, minimal products, minimal grooming sessions, fullness, minimal frizz. And not to say frizz is bad, because it's not. But you want your locks to look more compact. Crochet grooming is a method that works well. Makes me cringe. Yeah. I mean, it's cringeworthy. Like I'm oftentimes seeing people on social media take large hooks and go like that and just pull out. You just hear the hair just ripping. Oh, cringe. That's not how it's supposed to happen. I'm just like, just you wait and see. That head of locks, like 6 months. Show me that video. I don't want to see it today. I want to see it in 6 months. Let me see what that hair looking like. Or that person. I love when I see the videos with the crochet grooming, and then like a year or so later, a couple months later, they're like, yeah, so I'm just doing a lock repair. And I'm like, wonder why that lock repair is happening. But we ain't gonna talk about it, huh? But yeah, so the cringing, I totally get it. I totally get it. You want to make sure you're doing it right. With crochet grooming, again, you could start your locks this way and groom your locks this way. Just want to have the growth for doing it. All right. Going back to some questions, Dr. Bronner's. Somebody asked about Dr. Bronner's. Yes. So Dr. Bronner's, if we can You talk about frequency, talk about the tools, talk about the size. Yeah, I think those are pretty much the main things with crochet grooming. But let me know if you have a question about it that was not answered. Um, we can hop into some Q&A. With shampoo, Dr. Bronner's is soap. So make sure, like, start there. It's soap. It's not shampoo. It can be diluted to be used as a shampoo, but it is a soap. Which means being mindful of the type of water that you have in your area for using Dr. Bronner's, because it is a soap. If you have hard water and you use Dr. Bronner's with the hard water, you end up with soap scum in your locks. And so your locks just get like a cast or like a haze to them, and they'll show their true brilliance and vibrancy. And over time, that dullness just kind of, it creates a buildup of like a film on the lock. So it is essential, if you do like Dr. Bronner's and you find that it works well for your scalp and your hair, just, you like it, go for it. But you're going to need to detox. You're going to need to detox your hair, and you're going to need to do those detoxing regularly. I have a video about my experience with Dr. Bronner's. Go and watch that. And I also offer a detox recipe guide. So if you're wanting to know how you then do detox regularly, that's not going to strip your hair even more, because the soap of the Dr. Bronner's can be too stripping in the hair. So be mindful of that, with making sure your hair is not too dry and brittle, right? So check out those resources. Michelle says, just no, don't even use it. I'm gonna give you grace, if because I say that because I've been getting so many questions about it lately on my blog, and I'm just like, look, I'm not here to fight you. If you want to use it, go for it, but understand what it is, what it's going to do, what you're then going to need to do because you're using it. So go ahead. But if you're my client, you're not using Dr. Bronner's, at least not with my permission. Just realized my locks were crispy because of Dr. Bronner's. Yeah. Not a good, it's not even clarifying. I'm traumatized from Dr. Bronner's. See? I told you. But when you're like that mom, and I've been telling you, sometimes some people just gotta learn for themselves. Some people just gotta learn for themselves. I actually I found micro crochet hooks at Hobby Lobby, but now I'm wondering if that isn't okay. Text me a picture. I'm curious. What shampoo do you use? So I have a hair care line, of course. I won't say of course. My goal with locks is to cultivate healthy, holistic locks. And I realized I wasn't finding products that aligned there, so I created my own products. I'm working on my shampoo, so I don't have my own shampoo just yet, but that's one of the goals, 2022, to have the shampoo out by the end of the year. For right now, we're offering or retailing at Crown Elements, that is my hair care line. At Crown Elements, we are retailing the Influence shampoo. They offer a deep cleansing shampoo and a hydrating shampoo that are good for locks. And so if you need a shampoo, you're looking for shampoos, they're available at crownelements.com. You can also check out their site directly. It's another Black-owned business based locally here on the East Coast. So I'm not just, selling you anything. This is something that I use personally, both in the salon and at home. But the Crown Element shampoo will be here soon. All right, so we won't even have to go anywhere else. Do you just locksmith in the root area? So switching gears to locksmithing versus the crochet. So crochet is only at the roots, interlocking is only at the roots, palm rolling is the entire lock, locksmithing is the entire lock. Those are kind of like the differences in how they cultivate the entire shaft. So with locksmithing, you're doing the whole length of your locks because that is how they're cultivated, right? When you're using those methods. Yeah. See, if you're just listening to this lesson, you check the chat. There is so many, so many testimonials about this Castile soap. Just go and read. All right, because yeah, you have found. Kimberly says there's some micro crochet hooks on Etsy, so check that out too. Um, yes, I have a video coming. I do. How to maintain your hair or how to prep your hair for color, how to prep your locks for color. So look out for that one. And yes, coloring on the other side of coloring, it's a whole process. So be on the lookout for that video. It's coming soon. Any tips for one going back to starter locks? What would I say? What would you say if you could give a tip to somebody that's going back to starter locks? I feel like this is right up my alley, considering I've gone back there a couple times. Truly, it is just to embrace the stages, right? Like originally, or the first time, I was like, I just can't wait for them to be locked. I can't wait for them to be long. And so I was like, just rushing through all the stages. And when I went back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I really love how this hair is curling. I really love how this is frizzing, like just enjoying all the transformation that's happening and be very patient with yourself. That was one of the mindset things I had to shift because I had previously cultivated locks and I had gotten through the stages. I was like, I don't say in a rush, but I was like, yeah, I've already seen this before. So not even that. It was more so the I won't say the way people reacted to me, but it's just like, you know, when you first start your starter locks and they're like twists or they're coils, and for them to shift into like looking like locks, people just kind of like, well, why are you not doing your hair? And it's like, I want to say, but they're locks, but they're not really locks yet. I wasn't patient. I didn't feel like I was patient there. Just like, y'all don't get it. I've already done this. I've been here before. Like, I'm coming. Just you wait and see. And so just make sure that you yourself are patient with yourself, knowing that your starter locks are gonna move to the other side of looking from, twists, coils, however you start. They're gonna start looking like locks, but it's gonna take time. So patience and embracing the stages would probably be my biggest tips, right? Maya says patience has to be the biggest tip. And Miss Diane says, I wish I had learned and done all my research before locking my hair. I've been thinking about going back to start again. Yeah, it's one of those things like you can't unknow all the things you know now, right? And so it's just like, dang. Now I didn't even know that when I started. I didn't even know there was this parting system. I didn't even know. So it's like, yeah, you could go back starting all over. Imagine, imagine all the things you know now, like as the person you are. Imagine going back to like the teenage you, like it's gonna be great. That would be amazing, but you can't actually do that. So yeah, we'll need to get into all that. When I was in that stage, I roller rotted and it would look better. It was growing. I was just impatient. Yeah. And I don't say try styles, but do things that support your locking, like bantu knots and like pin curls, things that help that like the shape of your locks, but still give it like a different texture there. Probably also say don't experiment with a lot of different products too, because one thing people think like, oh, they're just little starter locks, it's fine. And then they end up with all the buildup like right in the core foundation of the locks, which ends up being your tips. So then the tips start breaking and falling off. You're like, why is this happening? And it's like all the things you started them with. So just let them be free. Enjoy them. Yes. Um, I regret cutting my star locks. Oh, yeah. You gotta let them flourish, right? Yes, the learning process is so key for the beginning stages. I really like to look neat. No, no, that's one of the most important things I discuss in consultations. Mindset when you start your locks, they're not going to be neat. That's just it's not going to happen. Not neat and holistic, I'd say, because they can be neat and you using a lot of heavy products to like really control them. Um, but you want them to be able to, you know, just flourish and do their thing. And it's not gonna look, it's not gonna look at you. All the things that you had to grow through, and it wasn't very pretty all the time. But look at you now. You're amazing. You out here flourishing. So we gotta go through them little stages, right? To get to the good stuff. So locks are the same way. They're not called like baby, teenage, adults. It's not by happenstance. It's a true like juxtaposition with how we grow. At least I believe, right? Can we talk about this new locks? Can we talk about this with new locks? I crochet my hair after the twist and rip method. Um, so twist and rip, I'm assuming you have very um, straight hair or loose hair. So twist and rip it together to kind of give it some texture there, and then you're crocheting it. So as you're crocheting it, that twist and rip section, I don't say they're like knotted, but it's different than crochet. Like ideally you would have been better off starting with full crochet, but now that you twist and rip to like get your hair to have a foundation, your crocheting is going to be more secure. So your twist and rip sections are probably might gonna blow out. They're gonna like bulge. You might have some inconsistencies in them, but your crochet method, at least when done properly, will get you the shape that you're looking for and also the security that you want your locks to have. So if I were you, and if you're just new, you said it's just new, so I would probably go back and do crochet to start them together, because it would just give you more of a consistent aesthetic to your hair and also how your locks mature, because they still got to go through a process. They still got to shift and change. And the shifting blocks with twist and rip, it's not as consistent as a crochet grooming method. Ask me how I know. Because this, don't let my hair fool you. Like it looks like it's very what I want to say, looks like it's very highly textured, compacted. My hair is very loose. It's very wavy. Like almost like I'm not giving ringlets when my hair is loose. It's giving wave. And so I definitely tried twist and ribbons. We're not going to talk about that. Oh, Patrick, I'm looking forward to it too. Okay. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. What do you think about lock sprinkles and jewels? Let's see if I can highlight that. So I love lock jewelry. Absolutely love lock jewelry. You have to be mindful with your lock jewelry, where it's applied, how long you keep it in. Have a whole post about it so you can, get the do's and don'ts with lock jewelry. So I love lock jewelry. Lock sprinkles, I feel like they are wonderful when placed in an aesthetically pleasing way. And I say that because I've had lock sprinkles before. And I actually went to I feel like she is a creator of lock sprinkles, to have her do them. And just on me, right? The locks that she chose and how she placed the beads, I just kept getting people say, "Is that lint in your hair?" And then I would look at it like, "Oh, what is this?" And then they pop. So then they're just, I just, I'm not like a super huge fan of lock sprinkles, but I've seen them done, and like, just they just kind of look like stars in the locks. I love that. I love that. If I could have stars in my locks, yes. But the way they were placed before, it was not giving stars in my locks. So I'm hesitant to go back. I would just say, if you're trying to DIY, make sure she has a training. So you either take her training or just make sure you're mindful of how you place them, how you thread them into your hair, or if you go to somebody else, just do their work. And if you vibe with how they apply the beads and the locks, then yes. But if it's kind of like some people looks good, some people's doesn't, me personally, I'd be like, I don't know. It's too hit or miss for me. But if you've had lock sprinkles, anybody else had lock sprinkles, share your experience in the comments, because I'm a hard critic, honestly, when it comes, especially to my hair, just because I've been the sole person of my hair. So whenever I feel like I relinquish control to somebody else to do it, I need you to do better than what I could have ever done. And if you don't, I don't know. I'm kind of looking at you sideways. So it's beautiful is the short answer. Lock sprinkles are beautiful. Lock jewelry is beautiful. It just needs to be. See, that's too much. See, I don't want to scare you. It's just I'm I just I have high standards. I have high standards. I think that by wearing two strands for years, I already embraced and like the wild look. Yes. That's good. That's a good way to start your journey. Like if you started your journey with just um something that's close or resembles how your locks are going to be. Now, see, it becomes a problem if you coming into locks when you have like faux locks or locks that are like always neat or always shiny. And so you get your real locks and you're like, wait, hold up. You're not really trying to embrace it because it's not giving artificial, but you've had your hair natural. And so you kind of see what your hair does as it naturally just kind of, I don't say gets old, but the style begins to change and shift, and you've embraced that. So that's great. I finished my water. If you finish your water, press an 8. If you're still drinking, finish up so you can get to that 8. Drink those 8 ounces, right? What would crochet at the roots extend the retwist time, and is it healthy? So short first, two questions. Would it extend your retwist time, and is it healthy? It's healthy as long as it's done properly. Would it extend your retwist time? Would depend on your products that you're using in the hair. So if you're using a lot of like slippery products, using lots of oils and things that is going to loosen the hair, might not last you as long. But if you all things the same, and you're not currently experiencing a lot of unraveling, like maybe your locks are already mature, then yes, you would not need to retwist as frequently because your loose hairs will be contained within the shaft of your locks. Because again, when you're retwisting, you're trying to create a space for your hair to lock in. Because you've crocheted, you've added all the loose hair. That's for you if you need to drink. You've added all the loose hair back into the shaft. So you no longer need to have the shape there because it's already created. And so your retwisting can be extended because you've already created the space. The hair is already tangled. It's already there. But realize your hair, your scalp is going to be making new hairs. So as those new hairs come out, they're going to need to be reintroduced into the locks. So short answer, yes, it can extend your retwist time. Some factors may go into that, which might not get you as long as you're thinking, but generally for retwisting, yes, it would be extended and it's healthy as long as you're using the proper tool. Remember, them giant tools you see at the art and craft store, it's not what's going in your hair, okay? Why is the budding on some of my ends like round balls? They are thick. Is that normal? Yes, they should be nice and thick. You little babies, little balls there. Versus like this is more of like a loose area. I think I have one that's still open. This one. I trimmed this one early on and she never sealed back up. So it's a loose hair here or loose end until my budding is up here. So you want it to be round balls so it can seal up. It's the whole goal. Michelle refilled. Whose birthday? Whoever's birthday, happy birthday. I miss whose birthday is, but happy birthday. I missed it. Well, how often should you use slippery products? So you really should not be using slippery products because you have locks. Like products that create slip are usually for loose hair, but some people still do. Some people still believe, their locks are loose hair, so they still use their same products, but you really shouldn't be using slippery products. Does the crochet needle, oh, thank you, Michelle. I did want to go back to that. So yes, there are crochet hooks that have multiple, like it's like 2 hooks in one, like they have 2 prongs. So your question, does a crochet hook need to be 1 or 2 or 3 pronged? At your roots, 1. At your roots, 1. This is all you need. But if maybe you've like not done anything for the whole year or for 6 months and you have a lot of new growth, if you have a lot of new growth, you may want to utilize a double prong crochet hook just to kind of tighten up that additional length. But when you get to the roots, one prong, okay? That's all you need. Don't be tempted. Don't be tempted by these sites, places. So you're seeing people that got 2 hooks. You're like, oh, I'm gonna get 2, and 1 hook, 1 prong. That's all you need. Great question. There was another question. Pin question. Let me see. I wanted to go back to about the washcloth. Lynn says, I'm using a washcloth going from the roots to the ends. Is this damaging? What material is your washcloth made of and how is it woven? You have washcloths, a lot of washcloths have like the loops in it, and that can be damaging just because your locks have frizz and those loops, pulling the washcloth from the root to the ends, can snag on those, and we need that frizz. If we look at locks under the microscope, you'll see that your frizz, comes through the lock and it loops out and goes back in because it's making up the shaft of your locks. If you're getting the woven like loops in the washcloth caught in those frizzes and pulling it down, you're ripping the integrity of your locks. And so maybe a washcloth that is more interwoven versus looped, if you need to use a washcloth. Now, I personally don't use a washcloth, never recommended using a washcloth on your locks, but hey, it might work for you. Maybe you're doing it on your scalp. I don't have any research on using a washcloth, honestly, to know the benefits of it. But in thinking of the microscopic impacts of a washcloth on your locks, that is what I would initially see or be concerned about, as far as the damage. Actually, because I don't use a washcloth anymore. So I don't like when I'm interrupted. How many prongs? Oh, just one. um, is there a special way to wash starter lock home coils without unraveling? Yes, absolutely. You cannot wash your locks the same way that I would wash my locks, because my locks have budded. And so they're sealed, they're not coming unraveled. Comb coils, they would just blow out. Biggest tip, um, use low water pressure. Low water pressure. Okay. There's also a video on my channel for washing starter locks at home. So check that one out. Um, if you want training on the crochet method, of course, digitalloctician.com, in the education section, there is a workshop class, like a self-paced class for crochet grooming at home. So you can enroll in that training, and I will walk you through how to get the tools, how to insert them, um, how to groom your hair, and what you're doing to maintain your locks using the crochet grooming method. The link should be in the description box, but it's just digitalloctician.com, just like the name, Digital Loctician. I'm located in Maryland. I thought of two-strand twists, but I'm not a fan of the texture. Yes, hypnotic is getting out of control. I'm always finding new ways to wear it though. So that's the innovative part that is coming with all of the length. But yes, thank you so much if you've remained for the entire broadcast. Truly appreciate you. If you popped in, grateful for your presence, at the end. This is our last lock lesson of the month, wrapping up lessons on grooming. You can catch our last one, which is about interlocking. The other ones are in the member-only section of the channel, which is reserved for the Roots crew. You'll be hearing more about that tomorrow, July 1st. And I will not see you for 2 weeks. Next week, I go into my finals week for yoga teacher training. So I will not be live with a lock lesson. We will resume prayerfully in the middle of July. And always remember, you can connect with me in my digital text club. So you can join by going to digitalloctician.com/club. And if you have questions, concerns, maybe you're interested in some goodies, that is where they happen. By goodies, flash sales, things like that. Get your mind out the gutter. All right. But yes, thank you so much for joining. Truly appreciate you. I'm sending you peace, love, and good vibes. I will talk to you all middle of July. Got them goals set. All right. Strive for those goals. Make sure you drink some water for me, for yourself next week. And I'll talk to you soon.